I've always been interested in performing in public since I was a little kid. Like my cousin and I used to do stuff in Seattle. We had like a complaints booth. We just always used to do weird stuff in public. I think it has to do with being really bored with the world, sort of. Like both really bored and really interested. And I think it has to do with politics in terms of being really against and critical of so many things in terms of the way the world is organized, that the only thing left to do is to just act insane, to just act like an insane person. I usually describe what I do as a non-narrative, nihilist, anarchist puppet show about literary theory. I make things out of garbage and dead animals and things I find from all over the place. And I like to collect things that seem to weigh a lot semiotically and collage with them. Sort of to suggest that it's very meaningful, but also to say nothing is very meaningful at all. There's so many reasons I like street performance, and part of it is because I think it disrupts the elitism of the art world, sort of, and is populist. But also because it's such a permeable sphere where there aren't really fixed rules and people feel comfortable narrating or attacking you or coming up and making out with you or whatever it is that they feel like doing. It's more loose. I'm also fundamentally almost against context and sort of not interested in describing what I do. And it's interesting that so often people when they're like, "What are you doing?" Like, well, I can tell you if you want, but it might take a minute. Like they're just not interested. Like they're like, or like I can show you if you want. Like that probably you'll understand better if I show you, and they're not interested. Photography is one of the few arts that really pisses me off and bothers me. Photography is a super convenient way for people to totally alienate themselves from their lives. As like people use cameras, people use photography as a scheme that alienates them and isolates them and cuts them off from experience and from the world and from being in a. But I do think it's shitty when people try to have posterity instead of now, and it's like they're always leaning way too far forward. I mean, it's obviously an ironic policy that I could have a policy. It's like sort of funny, like that I would be able to like put up a no photography sign and people would obey that. Like no one's gonna obey. Like people look at the photography sign and take a picture of it. And yeah, like of course it's nice to offer people this thing they can transgress against. If you're gonna take a photo of me and run away and like totally refuse to engage with me, but you think what I'm doing is interesting enough to objectify, like I'm gonna harass you, that justifies my like bothering you and getting in your face. Like I've said that I would prefer if someone kicked me than took a picture of me and walked away. I prefer interaction. Take a picture, but use that picture as a way to connect with someone, not as a way to alienate yourself from somebody else. New York City is one of the last remaining cities in which you can really do whatever you want artistically, and you don't need a permit to be a street performer here. New York is one of the last places that really has a pedestrian culture in America. And New York is a city that values that kind of, I don't know, call it populist expression or something, or grassroots kind of artistry. I really like what it does to activate and sort of strange the interpersonal dynamics that you have between people on the street.